Hello and welcome everyone to this live launch celebration of intuitive living. I am Crystal Hill and I'm the publisher of this book, and I'm just so excited that I have with me the incredible authors of intuitive living, some of them anyway, and all of the Australians are here, and I'm just so excited that we can share this book with you. And yes, hello everyone. So I would love to hear from you all what it is, how you are using intuition in your life, like in your daily life, and maybe just saying something about how you're feeling right now, how you're feeling about being live on Amazon. So we'll start with Bianca.
Oh, thank you. Welcome, everyone. So good to be here. Yes, it's very, very exciting. It's been a long time coming. We've all put in, so much work, and we've had some fun along the way as well, collaborating on this beautiful book. It's exciting to be published amongst some amazing authors, and some of you guys are here, so I'm feeling very blessed and honored to be here. The intuition and living from an intuitive space is a daily practice for me. And most of the time, it actually happens without me realizing that I'm utilizing my intuition. I make decisions based on that. And it sort of feels like I'm tuning into a space that is almost beyond my physical body. Not necessarily making decisions from the headspace, but when they do come through the headspace, it's almost like I'm tuning in to that other field of wisdom and decision making. And it sort of comes from, that space that sort of sits in front of my body, from the heart space down to the top of my legs almost. But on the other hand, I also get little nuggets of information during the day where sometimes I don't even understand where it's coming from. And I listen to that. And once I do that, for me, it really feels like everything starts to flow. And it's easier to take action towards something that I want to create. So being able to tap into that part of me has been a learning, to say the least, but also an amazing way to show up every day for me and for all the people around me.
That's beautiful. Thank you for sharing that. Let's go to Rivka. Just share a little bit about who you are, how you're feeling today, and how you incorporated intuition into your life.
Hi, just checking in. There's lots of background noise.
Yeah, let's mute everybody else.
Yeah. Hello. So good to be here. I'm actually feeling quite moved today. Just the hitting of send to let everyone know the link and actually birth the book is kind of part of putting it out there. I'm actually feeling quite quiet, even though I'm wanting to celebrate. It's felt like quite a big process to bring something from the inside out and onto the page. I'm so distracted by the noise, so it's very hard to, I'll just have to talk through it. Oh, that's better. Yeah, I am. I'm in that quiet space because I shared some quite personal stories and spoke in my book around sexual trauma and sexual abuse, and putting that out on the page, it feels really important and at the same time very vulnerable. And it's just landing now how important it is for these stories to be shared, for people to speak their truth and to really clear the holding that people might have in their bodies. And so intuition for me is really about that presence in my body. And that requires, whatever it has to be, whatever bravery and whatever uncomfortability that I need to go through to clear, so that I can have a much more connected and authentic relationship with myself. And from there, that I can access intuition in a whole other way. I can, one, really trust myself and my body's cues and signals, but two, have a deeper capacity to connect with something higher than me. And for me, that's how I practice with intuition daily. It's really connected to my meditation, connected to my time in nature, really connected to a greater source. And from there, that presence and that greater knowing guides me intuitively and, in a clear and connected way. So I missed your other questions, but hopefully that responded to what you were asking.
Absolutely. No, it did. It was just about, who you are, how you're feeling, and how you're using intuition in your daily life. So yeah, I feel like you've answered that beautifully. Thank you, Rivka. Let's move to Sophia. Just unmuting there. I can help you if you like. There we go. You're unmuted.
Thank you. It's been an interesting journey too. Similarly for me, just this creation of the book and putting something quite personal out there in this way. It's quite different to a lot of the writing I've done in the past, which has been more from the cognitive brain predominantly. And I think my style of writing reflects that in this book. And regarding my intuition, it's something that lives and breathes through me every day. I, similarly to Rivka, tune in through nature, through my body. It's a deeply, deeply embodied process for me. It's as soon as I deepen into that body connection, then I can access the signals within my body, but also the signals that are reaching out beyond my body into what I call a universal consciousness. And so being really grounded, being really present, doing meditation daily, movement practices daily really support me to be able to access this intuitive realm. And for me, it's in a day-to-day way, it's using that intuition to work with my emotional intelligence center, my rational brain intelligence, so that the three of them work in a beautiful flow. And when that's not happening, I know that I need to deepen into my presence and really deepen into that connectivity.
Beautiful. One thing that I remember we spoke about really early in the writing process is that you were surprised by what came through you into the chapter, because you are normally really working very cognitively and you've got that academic background, and suddenly something very different came through you, and that in itself was like an expression of intuition, wasn't it?
Oh, totally. It did. It just flew through me, and the style was much more colloquial. The words I used were not words I would normally use. And when I read through it, I was really surprised at what came out. And that's been quite a process as well, just deepening into trust that is how it is supposed to be. Trying to walk my talk by putting out there a chapter that has been an intuitive process.
Exactly. Yeah, I love that as well. Thank you. Katerina, let's move to you. Who are you? How do you incorporate intuition into your life?
Hi, I'm Katerina, and I'm an evolutionary life coach. So I've been in touch with my intuition since the age of 14 years old, and I learned how to be still. My celestial family taught me how to be still. So writing this chapter for me was I had to really dig deep and find the words to express what it meant me sitting for 2 hours quietly and not saying anything, and how would I let you know how that worked. I use my intuition every day. I have for a very long time, and what I do is I sit quietly every day when I get the feeling that I need to be quiet. I've learned in my stillness that I can sit in my nothingness and tap into my intuition, where I can find my solutions and answers. So my chapter is letting you know how those hours and hours of sitting still taught me how to understand my own energy versus the outside energy, how to not be distracted by the external voices of the world, It took many years for me to be able to do this, and this chapter really got me to really think about how I would express it on a piece of paper. And I'm really grateful and honored to be part of this group and this book. So I'm really all about be still, be quiet, look within yourself, go into your nothingness and not be afraid of it, because in there you plant your seeds and you will discover something that you don't even know about yourself. And that's what my chapter is really all about. It's very exciting.
Very exciting indeed. Yes. Thank you for sharing that. And it's just such an important process. How do we calm down? How do we quiet down? And I feel like everyone in this book has touched on that in their own unique way, which is really lovely to see this tapestry coming together of all these different perspectives. And that's what I love about these compilation books, because they really bring together all the different voices, and we can really feel ourselves and see ourselves reflected in the stories in the book, and then understand our own story in a completely new way, or in a more expanded way, from a different perspective and from an enriched perspective, because of the stories and the tools that have been shared. So I'd love to now hear from Justina and who you are and how you incorporate intuition into your daily life.
Hey everyone, thank you, Crystal. So I am a mother of two young humans, 16 and 20, and I am a feminine embodiment coach, a women's educator, specializing in women's psychosexual health and wellness, and a menstruation and perimenopause mentor. And did I say feminine embodiment coach? That one too. And I really love that I get the opportunity to speak after the other ladies, because I can really resonate with pieces that each of you have mentioned. And it was in my early 20s that I really started to tune in. I had a deep awakening with my spirituality, which, you know, that to me is deeply linked to my intuition. And I feel like it's it's quite well, it's a lifelong journey, and I feel like the more that muscle is flexed on listening to whatever it is for you, I think it's slightly different for different people. And to me, it's a tricky thing to put into words and describe, because it's a sensation, it's a feeling, it's a knowing. I love to think about animals, and when if you witness animals just doing their thing, sitting very still and silent, and then they just have this, they just move, they know the next movement forward. So, how does that happen? It's a feeling, it's a sense. And I feel that the practices that I've been doing for a very long time to help women get into their bodies and tune in with their womb spaces, connecting the heart and the womb space, deepening into cycle awareness and the subtle cues that can give us, and the not so subtle cues. All these things really help. On that note of subtle and not subtle, I really notice that sometimes I'll just get this, oh my God, I have to do that. Oh yes, that feels so right. And it's, like truth bumps all over. But other times it's just, oh yeah, that, So, for people listening, I don't think it's any particular way, and that's why this book is so amazing, because you can see all the different perspectives and relate to some, or maybe relate to a bit of all of it. So I'm really super excited to dive in and read other people's contributions, and I feel really deeply honored. So I'm talking in my chapter about our menstrual cycles and reclaiming the power and the beauty and the wisdom of our menstrual cycles. Completely lost my train of thought. Where was I going? Anyway.
I think that's beautiful. Like you're describing what you're sharing in your chapter, and of course we don't want to give it away. But if there's another addition that you have, then feel free to share that as well.
I just wanted to say, because you did say at one stage how we're feeling about it, and I just wanted to mention that my mother passed last year, and she's inspired this chapter, so I've dedicated it to her. So I was quite emotional this morning because it's quite personal. Yes, so there we go.
It's such a personal journey and such a huge thing to share our stories with the world. So I'm really honored and grateful that you've really all tapped in so deeply into your story and brought that out for everybody to benefit and to be enriched and inspired by your stories. I don't want to make this too long, so I just want to go around one more time and just ask you, what is your intention for the reader when they get this book in their hands? What is your prayer that you are sending with your energy, and when you're sharing this book that you're sharing into the world? And for me, when I started conceiving this book and the title, Intuition, a Practical Guide for Women Who Want to Deeply Trust Themselves, it really came out of a personal experience where I felt like I needed to really deepen into my own self-trust and not be distracted by outside advice and outside opinions, and really, really needed to drop deep within myself so that I could be in alignment in all areas of my life, not just in one or in two, but in all areas of my life. And so I know that trusting self is and can be incredibly challenging, especially for women, where we understand everybody else's perspectives, where we are empaths. And to really come home to self and to honor our boundaries and to know our hell yes and our hell no is so important to me. So I'm just so grateful that all the contributors and you've all come together to sharing your perspective and your piece, which has deeply enriched my own experience. And it is my hope and desire for all of the readers to do the same thing and to really have this book as a guide, a reference point where we can come back to and read back into when we're in these moments where perhaps we're losing trust and faith in ourselves, to become back inspired by all the chapters in the book. So that is my intention, and I'd love to hear from you just briefly. You don't have to speak as long as I did just then. what your intention is for you personally and for the reader reading this book and your chapter in particular. Bianca, let's start with you again.
Thank you. Oh, my intention. Well, my book talks about having a connection to yourself and actually trusting that intuition and that beautiful connection from a soul level that we have with ourselves. And it talks about how we can rediscover that connection, because we believe we've lost it, but we haven't actually. It's literally relearning that. But once we do that, we can then also connect to our beautiful pets and other animals around. And my intention is for people to read the chapter to not just discover who they are at a soul level and what they can do once they truly listen and trust to their intuition, but also what they then can do by listening and trusting the information they receive from their pets. Because it would be absolutely amazing for us to be able to communicate with our animals and to understand the wisdom that they bring into our lives, because our pets are not with us just for the sake of being with us. They are with us often with a strong purpose and a role in their life. And they have so much to share that we can learn from. And it is my wish for us to be able to tune into that and to collaborate with our animals, to collaborate with our own soul being, to collaborate with spirit and all that is, so that we can truly create more harmony and actually enjoy this life, because that's what we're here for. We want to enjoy ourselves, and animals show us that, how we can do that. So to really tap into that, that'd be absolutely amazing.
Beautiful. Thank you. Rivka, let's move to you.
Well, really, just very simply, I hope that my offering ignites a curiosity in people, in readers, to want to explore the relationship between their own body and the greater body of Earth, those symbiotic connections that we have with nature's system and our own system, with nature's biology and our biology, and how we can support each other, nature body and human body.
I love that. Thank you, Rivka. Let's go to Sophia. I have unmuted you, so you're all good.
My intention is for people to learn to be much more connected with themselves, with nature, with all that is. And from that space, really deepen into trust in their own inner authority, trust that they know what's best for themselves, and move forward from that space of trust.
I love that. Thank you. Katerina.
My intention is for the reader to understand that their intuition is their GPS. So no matter what's going on around you, your intuition is going to take you where you need to be and teach you what you need to learn to how to trust your process, so you can eventually learn how to embody your highest self.
Yeah, I love that. Justina.
Yeah, my intention is to activate inspiration and reflection and insight to the readers, both men and women, I want to say, to really reflect upon the imprints that they've had and the belief systems they have around women's bodies and their menstrual cycles, the periods. And to really contribute to a reclamation of the beauty and the sacredness of women's blood, women's menstrual cycles, helping people to more fully embrace them and normalize the conversations around them.
Incredible. Thank you. Yeah, you can see how many amazing intentions there are and how deeply felt each of these beautiful contributors are in their intentions, and the wisdom that they have around that you can tap in both in their chapters, but also moving forward in their offerings. And at the end of each chapter, you will find a free offer from every single contributor where you can go deeper into the world that they have to offer. So I highly recommend that if you are in Australia, you can grab your copy on Amazon now. We'll also put the direct link in there, but if you search it in Amazon Australia, you will find the book. And yeah, go grab your copy. And I look forward to hearing your reflections, your insights, your aha moments. Please come and share them in the group. Put a photo in there with you and the book, or just that you've purchased it. We love to hear what you're thinking. We'd love to hear your questions, and make this an interactive experience today and tomorrow on launch day. Thank you so much, everyone, for being here. Thank you for your wisdom, beautiful contributors, and I will see you next time. Thanks, everyone, for listening. Bye.